the man inside of me, what does he want? This is something you can ask yourself every day. What do you need today? What actions do you want to take in the world? And actually allow him inside of you to answer. So for me, the inner man in me loves to go to the gym and loves to make a plan of what we're going to do for the day. And then the inner feminine, it's like, well, she gets to fall into that direction, into that container, into that structure that he has made. So then she can actually fully flow and fully go deep into what is in her being. Because the feminine wants to be, the masculine is the doing.
I hated the government when I was a kid. Why? I can't get what I want. Why? The government aren't controlling you. It's because I didn't control myself. And I felt this force of being controlled. Parents, school system, governments, hospitals, doctors. That was what the control was over me. And I realised that I don't have to control them to control myself. I just have to control me and take charge of me.
That's really important piece.
And don't blame other people. Like the water, flowing, but I'm leading where I'm going. You get resistance, flow around it. And that's when I separated myself from no one's controlling me.
It's not to say don't be angry, and it's not to say not to have rage, because actually there's so many things that need that energy. That is pure fucking fire energy to actually get a change in the world. But unless you're connected to your heart and a greater vision for humanity, that rage is destructive. And it's very self-serving.
So I've learned from being here with you that there is a massive importance of always honouring what you want in life, and that you should never be scared to go out and get what you want. And in today's society, people are suppressed by their emotions, and that comes from not being heard. So when someone wants to say something and they don't, that becomes a default narrative and they forget what it's like to be heard. And that's when depression starts and anxiety starts and essentially illness starts, because every disease starts from your body not being at ease, and being at ease means expressing energy and feeling and emotion and getting it out. So the opposite to that is keeping it in and you destroying your own body by that negative charge. And what you do is you help people honour their word and get exactly what they want by asking what they want, and also respecting that when they say no, that is equally okay. But it doesn't mean that you never ask because you think that the answer might be no. You push the boundaries until you can't push them anymore, and when you get that no, it's I appreciate your time and I respect your no. That's it. What comes to your mind?
Yeah, for me it's interesting how you just said, you know, that I teach people how to own what you want, yet I'm still in a space of finding it really difficult to put that into action in the world. And what happens for me in those situations is I know I want something, but the thought of asking a person for that and projecting on the situation that I'm going to receive a no, or a passive aggressiveness, or who does she think she is asking me that, actually makes me feel prematurely angry and frustrated at my surroundings around me. So for example, this morning, I was already bringing that energy into my life where I knew I wanted someone to clean my house, and I know I need it done because it's literally for health and safety. Yet the thought of actually stepping into asking for this was so intense because I already thought I knew what she would say. I already had the story that I can't ask for what I want. Because I have learned as a child or as a woman, as a girl, as a young girl, that if I'm assertive and if I'm asking for what I want in the world, then I'm being bossy. That's like the key word. It's like, you're such a bossy bitch. And that being like the worst insult almost for a woman. And yeah, that comes with just being assertive. And I feel like for men, it's like normal to be like that. It's very okay for men to also get what they want in business, for example. And we've had many conversations about this. But yeah, there's many layers as to why someone might feel like they can't ask for what they want.
Yeah. Right, I'm just going to check something, one sec. That's right.
We're doing podcasts.
That's right.
You're a cameo. Thank you.
So yeah, growing up, I was always told no. And it became like this default narrative of when someone tells me no, all I now see is how the fuck do I get a yes? And it's like, I don't see anything anymore apart from that clear vision, that goal. Almost like that bullseye. I've got the dart and I'm getting bullseye. And like from doing that, which came from this rage of being controlled by people, school, parents saying no, friends, generally people saying no to me, I learned that it's very easy to get what you want because I was doing it, but it was coming from a place of anger and rage. Nevertheless, the path is still the same path. It's just how you get there. And I learned that you can still do the same things that I did, but you can soften how you say it. You can be more smart, use psychology, be more polite, be more respectful, rather than, I want this now, get me your manager, this is ridiculous, I'm going to leave a bad review. No, you don't have to do that. There's ways you're doing it. Please, can I have this? Okay, is there any chance I can speak to your manager? Is that okay? Manager comes out. Any chance that you can do this to me? I appreciate that. No worries, absolutely understand. Thank you so much for at least trying. Okay? If you think there's another way of getting it, then you go that way. Essentially, if there is a path where the water can flow, it will go, right? Like the caves. If there's a crack, it will go. That's essentially what life is. It's, you're flowing to where you want to go. Where the mind goes, the energy flows. If your mind wants something, there's energy there. And energy doesn't end, which means there's always a way to get what you want. It's just how you go about it during that process.
Yeah. Well, it's something interesting in that. It's like within the spiritual community of go with the flow, right? And we can also bring this down to the layer of being being feminine or female and being male, and also the masculine energy. The masculine energy is the thing that creates the direction of where the water will flow, right? So I feel like there's also a difference here in that with us, in that it sounds like what you have experienced and where you've come to is you create the valley for where the water will flow. Whereas in my experience, and with this kind of more spiritual outlook, it's like, go with the water. Instead of, but missing out on the key point here, which I'm realizing now, is that you have to actually direct it. You actually can direct it, which means you have to have a vision and you have to have a place that you're going to, because otherwise you're just floating in the water. But
Yes.
has my life actually ended up in a bad way from just flowing in that water? Absolutely not. My life is fucking amazing. And I've had the most amazing experiences. So I think this is really big for women. I just feel like it's such a big movement for women right now as a collective, because I'm working on it personally and I'm in a group working on it, of actually directing the water. And that for me is bringing in the energy of the masculine inside of us. Not a man, but the masculine energy inside of me, to get him to grow up into the man that he is, not a boy, because we all have those. I have a little girl and a woman and a little boy and a man, and it's about maturing them. And that feels really exciting.
Yeah, so before you said the word masculine, what came to me at that time was going back to like old days where the woman would look after the kids, be the housewife, and the man would go out to work, bring back the bacon, right? That was a narrative that was the norm then, and it worked. Nowadays, everyone is becoming more independent and becoming self-sufficient. And from that, we're forgetting the traits of masculine and feminine. It's like we're going towards one or the other. So let's say I am going out and leading, more masculine. I'm forgetting to be feminine, surrender, and be vulnerable. Let's say a woman now is speaking up, becoming powerful, working more, taking charge, more masculine. So busy being a boss and creating and everything, and I can do this, that they're forgetting to go in their feminine. Which then you could say creates resistance between partnerships where you've got the man naturally masculine, the woman becoming more masculine, which essentially is just becoming more powerful, empowered, in control of their life. And there's conflict. And with conflict now, because we don't know how to address conflicts and emotions, we're just running. And things that should be said aren't being said. And because we don't like confrontation, we're not asking people like, what's up? How do you feel? Tell me. And instead we're seeking other ways of that release. Texting other people, cheating, dating apps, and fucking things up, essentially, because you're avoiding the main problem, which is being heard, which should be with your partner. That's what came to my mind.
Yeah, there's just so many different things that you touched on there that I'm like, ooh, which one can we flow down? First, I want to make sure that we know that there's a difference between saying masculine and male,
Yeah,
and feminine and female,
absolutely.
and that we all have feminine energy and we all have masculine energy. And I don't feel like it's fair to say that women need to be in their feminine. Oh, which way can I word this? I feel like it's a choice, yet I also feel like it's a civil duty to humanity to have both of your energies equal and mature. That's where I feel like we're moving to. It doesn't take away the polarity of a man being a man and a woman being a woman. And this is really like, there's so much in there that we could get into. But yeah, just when you were speaking there, I wanted to make that clarity of like,
Yes.
there is also then the traditional roles of a man being a man and a woman being a woman. Yet what you're talking about is like a woman these days not being able to be in that soft, feminine, receptive, connected to God energy, which is the feminine energy.
Mother Nature.
Because they need to work. And it's not only that they need to work to make money, but it's also there's a pressure on women to go out and make money and to be equal to men. But it takes women completely out of their feminine essence.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that they can't go into that. It's just the tools that bring you back into the feminine essence when you come home from your day of work, that you can actually relax and not be in this hyperactive state in your mind, thinking logical, I need to do everything, because actually she's robbing herself of her beauty and her radiance and of the joy and the joy it is to be in that feminine energy.
And yeah, like, as we were saying yesterday, for a man to evolve into his masculine, you need the feminine there to create that balance.
In an external source or in yourself?
Without the feminine there,
Without like a woman?
without a woman, yeah,
Yeah.
but in her feminine, the man won't be able to truly go into his masculine, because you need that balance, that push-pull, that polar opposite energy to balance out things or push things more in that direction. Like, say a woman wants the man to take charge and he's like, oh, I want to respect her and her boss empowerment, all that stuff, so I'm not going to do it. And then she's like, no, I want you to do it. Meaning you're raising that person's masculine energy, and then he feels empowered, and then the woman's like, oh, I love that about you, and then they feel more connected. Without that, woman saying, take lead, and then that backwards and forwards, which just happened, then you wouldn't have got to that point. Like yin and the yang, you need both. But because there's so much unbalance individually, there's no balance together.
Well, I see that as like you can't make a choice, because you're just falling into your natural unbalance. You're just unconsciously operating, and you're not actually working on, okay, I have a masculine side of me and I have a feminine side of me. For example, the man inside of me, what does he want? This is something you can ask yourself every day. What do you need today? Like what actions do you want to take in the world? And actually allow him inside of you to answer. So for me, the inner man in me loves to go to the gym and loves to make a plan of what we're going to do for the day. And then the inner feminine, it's like, well, she gets to fall into that direction, into that container, into that structure that he has made. So then she can actually fully flow and fully go deep into what is in her being. Because the feminine wants to be. The masculine is the doing. And like what you're saying, like it's a polarity. Without him creating that structure, she actually won't ever go as deep as she can.
Yes.
So when then you come into a relationship, into just an interaction with a man and a woman, or any person, it's like whichever one I'm operating most in will polarize the other person. So if I'm in my masculine as a woman, then I'm probably going to attract a man in his feminine.
Yes.
But it also switches and changes throughout the relationship, throughout life. But I think to get to a place where you can consciously choose that and be aware of that, it's so important for you to actually do what I just said, of like tuning into the inner man, tuning into the inner woman, and getting to know both of them, growing them up, asking them what do they need, and actually then having a dance between them, which is what you want to see on the outside anyway, if you want a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, and also not forgetting that inner child. Like, you go from the inner child to an adult, but then also not abandoning that child, going back to it. But because you have found that adult, you can switch back anytime. Yeah, you need to find the adult in order to go back to the child. It's almost like you can't lead unless you know what it's like to follow, because you'll be telling people what to do, not understanding that people don't like to be told what to do in a certain way. They'll start to be defensive and they'll rebel. And you're like, why are these people not listening to me? And actually it's because you probably, when you are told what to do, don't like hearing those words yourself. So now you're speaking as if you're punishing the person who used to lead you by saying to them, can you do that? You're talking to them how other people spoke to you.
As a child.
It's almost like abuse. People that get abused will then abuse other people. So it's like, you feel my pain as well. We're equal. Like, I want you to feel what it felt for me, until you break the cycle and essentially realise, okay, rather than speaking to you how people have spoke to me, I'm going to speak to you how I would have wanted to be spoken to. Can you please go and clear those tables for me on table 4? Is that okay? Now, you're saying, is that okay, meaning they have a choice to say yes or no, but you know it's actually, you're going to clean the table because that's your job.
So why are you skirting around giving it directly, Oliver?
Because I'm anticipating how most people may take a demand or a request or Because that's human nature, is to be defensive. And actually, what's just come to me is, it's because I have grown up being defensive or being told what to do. So I'm thinking, well, they're also going to be defensive because if someone tells me what to do, they don't fucking tell me what to do. And I'm anticipating that they're all little shits like I was. And actually, what's coming to mind right now is, why am I anticipating how you're going to react? Why can't I just say exactly how it comes to me? Can you clear that table?
I want you to clear that table.
I want you to clear that
Will
table. Will you? And if you say no, well, then we'll deal with it. Rather than, is it okay? Are you busy right now? Is it okay if you do that for me? Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? Please, please.
Would you maybe?
Yeah.
Could you
please?
perhaps,
Maybe. Would you please kindly?
Maybe sometime
When
in the
you're
future,
when you're ready. I don't want to rush you. I don't want to rush you, but when you're ready.
Please. Would you?
Is that okay?
Is that actually okay that I asked you that?
Hope you don't take offence to me asking you to do a job.
Can I ask you that? I'm your manager, but...
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck am I even doing? I fucking hired you to work for my restaurant.
So this brings up for me, like, this kind of... it really annoys me, like, especially when I'm in England, actually. This politeness. This layer of politeness that everybody has.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. Like in Ireland, we have it too. Whoa, do we have it? Like, you know, but I remember just hearing it in England and just really clearly, and just people being like, sorry, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, can I ask you, but I'm so sorry for asking. I'm so sorry for asking. What is that? Why am I sorry for asking for what I want?
Because you've grown up with the environment also not asking for what they want. There was a rule back in England. Little boys and girls should be seen, not heard. Think about what that means. It means shut your mouth, whatever you're feeling, don't say it.
It's not respected.
But I can just see you.
Children are not respected.
And it goes back to like the royals, for example, where they'd have big dinner parties and all the important people there, and the kid will come down, and it's don't say anything.
Social
Adult time.
etiquette.
Yeah, adult time here. You can be there, but don't say anything. Seen but not heard. So you get used to not expressing how you feel. And it's absolutely...
It's detrimental.
It's poisoning
It makes humanity actually super powerless, like, and fawning, and always waiting for authority to tell you what to do. The government, teachers, your parents, and it starts there. And then you grow up to be in this space of, I'm not getting what I want, and I don't know why I don't feel fulfilled anymore. I feel depressed, I feel anxious, I feel shit.
And you don't bother asking anymore because the last time you didn't get it.
Well, you also forget that you can ask for what you want. You actually forget that you're allowed to ask for what you want. You also don't even know how to ask for what you want, which is why I'm doing the workshops that I'm doing, which brings authentic relating, which is tools to actually ask for what you want in situations. How to do it, and what you said earlier of like, how to word it. So you did say, okay, now I know how to word it. But it's also not about pussyfooting around it and being super like uber polite, you know? It's like, no, I can ask in a way that's centered and that's not charged anymore. So for example, I feel really angry about something because there's something in my house that's not going the way I want it to go in my rented house. I feel really angry, and I know if I ask from that space, it's not going to be received well. Because I am angry at myself for wanting what I want, actually. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm already being angry at myself so I can be in control of the situation, or I already know what reaction I'm going to get, which I won't go and do it, so I'll just be angry at myself. So I'm now thinking I'm in control of my external environment, because I know what she's going to say to me, my landlord. So I'll become that. And that's so common. We do it all the time. Becoming the internal protagonist. Like, it's like I'll become what I know is going to happen because I need to be in control of the situation.
Yeah, what's coming to me is that thing you said about, rather than just being the water flowing, direct the water yourself where you want it to go. Which essentially means is that you know the water's going to end up in, say, the bottom of the cave. But it doesn't mean that you don't follow the water. So if you know, say, the landlord's going to say no, it doesn't mean you don't ask.
Yeah.
You ask, get the no, and you go through the motion. Because through that process is where the growth is.
What do you do for that little child inside of you who gets angry and reactive to getting a no?
I don't act from it emotionally anymore. When I was younger, I used to like boil up. You're telling me no, why can't I get that? Why can't I have an ice cream? Like, I want an Xbox, why? I don't understand why you can't get me an Xbox. Like, poor me, victim, everyone else got an Xbox, all my friends have got nice shoes, football boots, and why are you not giving that to me?
And how did you treat the people who said no to you? What was your
I fucking hated them.
mechanism?
I hated them. Like, I want something, and you're not giving it to me, you're the fucking devil. And so now it was charged with like devil rage, where I would come at things where they wouldn't be humans. I'd just be like, get me what I want. I wouldn't hear what they were saying. I would just focus on getting what I wanted. Like, I don't want to hear your bullshit script system at the call centre. Let me speak to your manager. Okay, great, yeah. Okay, no, I understand. Okay, can I speak to your manager, please? Okay, can I please speak to your manager? So what is it? Can I please speak to your manager right now? Sir, I'm asking to speak to your manager and you're not doing that. Why? It is your job to honour the customer. Let me speak to your manager.
So is it true then that you reacted to other people as the people who said no to you in your life?
Most probably.
And it sounds like, maybe you can confirm it, that you just wanted to be heard and understood. Like, if you understood why they said no, what would that have also given to you?
Yeah, so growing up, I was not heard. I was not heard one slight second. No one heard me, no one understood me. I saw the world how I did, no one else saw the world the same, and no one else knew how I saw the world. I was so unheard. So the people that I would say, essentially people would get all the rage of all the no's I heard growing up, right? They had nothing to do with it. They're just an innocent person at work. Most people just go, okay, no problem, thank you for your time, bye-bye. Then you've got this 18-year-old kid, like, let me speak to your manager, all that nonsense. Like, sir, I've just told you, we can't do that. I don't care what you say, let me speak to your manager, okay? Because most of the
So
time,
externalizing.
yeah, most of the time, manager would give me what I wanted. But it was like, I would not learn how to go about it. Now I know there's humans there. So it's, please, can I have something? I really appreciate that. Is there any way I could please speak to your manager? Like, when salespeople call me, I used to be like, don't fucking call me. Don't call me again, I'll call the police, report you, blah, blah, blah. And they will get so defensive, and they wouldn't take you off the list. They call you the next day. Hello, sir, we got a selling car from warehouse, okay? Okay, anger, got you nowhere. Now it's, hello, sir, can I please, is there any way that you could kindly remove me from your system? Is that okay? Silence. They don't know what to say because they are so used to hearing abuse on the phone. They're so used to it that they don't know what to say. Okay, sir, no worries. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. You shut them down like nice to be, kill them with kindness.
Yet it's also something to do with how you have dealt with your rage and your anger.
Yeah, I
around
learned
it.
it was,
So that's what's really important here, I feel, also. It's like not just bypassing it and saying I'm not angry anymore, but like, yeah, what do you do to alchemize that into kindness?
it was trials and errors of how I was witnessing and observing the people along the way from my actions. It's how you said it, not what you said. I would have given it to you, but it's how you said. You assumed that I wasn't going to give it to you, so you were rude, and now I don't want to give it to you.
Well, they're kind of fulfilling the cycle of what you thought.
Yeah,
If you're creating your reality, it's like they are approving of.
yes.
You're proving that this is how things are.
And actually, it's the pushback that allowed me to reflect. So you learn from the pushbacks. Like when someone says no, it's, well, how can I have gotten what I wanted? because somebody might say something so small but so powerful, like, please? Just that. Please? Sorry, please. I'm like, wow, she would just wanted me to say please. That's all I like to do. So next time, you remember that. Please.
Be a good boy and say please and thank you.
Yeah.
From mummy and daddy.
So it'll just be like small little cues, like, small little cues, and all these collective cues became huge grounds of change.
Something that I've been kind of challenged by in my life is I feel very like I have a very intense energy, right? I feel emotions very intensely.
Keep talking. Yeah.
And I have kind of struggled with that. I've really suppressed all of those emotions. And like my first awakening at about the age of 18 was my emotional awakening. And it was me feeling emotions again. And I hadn't cried for years. And I had acne all over my face.
Same.
And only until I worked with a shaman, I did all the medications. I went on the pill, even though I didn't need to go on the pill, but it's good for your acne.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it gone, no? I just wanted to be able to look people in the eye and speak to them and connect. But my acne was a physical manifestation, which is another story of what was going on the inside.
Yes.
And until I went to the shaman did I realize this, that I actually have so much anger inside of me.
Yes.
And he pushed my buttons and he made me cry. And I realized, wow, I haven't cried in years, because there is this such a fear of emotions. I grew up with a family who we don't feel our emotions. And as a child, if I showed those emotions, I would be punished for that. In various ways, physical and also emotional, and which taught me be quiet and don't feel these things. Yet, as I move into this tantric path, or this tantric path that found me, it's like I now know that the aliveness of life, and if anyone's listening to this right now, just remember that the aliveness of life is found within all of the motions, the energy in motion, the energy of your emotions, and to feel all of them, to fully embrace the rage, to fully embrace the anger. You can't bypass it. In my eyes, there's no way you can bypass it. These are actually real pieces of energy, and there's something to get from them. For example, anger. If you feel your anger, you'll learn your boundaries. Your anger is there to protect you from crossing your boundaries, or that someone has crossed your boundaries and you feel anger. So this is just an example of what can be found when you start to feel those things. And therefore it frees up your entire being, frees up your energy flow, frees up the flow from the base of your spine all the way up to your head, and allows you to actually step into living a more fruitful, alive, exciting, exhilarating life where you feel fulfilled. I want you to ask me a question, will you?
Yes. Why is it so important for you to be heard and get what you want?
Well, being heard is a basic need of all humans. To be heard, to be understood, to be cared for. It feels like I'm being cared for. It feels like I'm being considered and acknowledged. And it's like my words actually matter. I matter. It comes down to that I matter here. I matter in the world. Because I've created a whole narrative in my life that I don't matter, because no one ever wanted to listen to me. Or I started sharing something and someone would just say, what are you talking about? In that really dismissive tone of like, shut up.
Yeah, you dumb bitch, shut up.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You can't say that.
You're a kid,
You
you're not
can't
smart,
say
I'm
that.
older, I'm smarter than you.
Yeah. And why are you saying, why are you also saying, like, expressing your emotions? That's triggering for me, because I don't feel comfortable when you have emotions. Because I haven't found myself, I
Yeah.
haven't found my center, I haven't expressed my own
It
emotions.
resonates with my pain and it doesn't make me feel comfortable, so shut up.
Yeah, so stop pushing me. And when someone's your parent or someone's in power over you, you only want love from them. So you will
Yes.
stop doing all the things that annoy them because you need to survive. So now, growing up into an adult, it's like, okay, none of that actually is true. So it's almost like there's a bigger mission, you know, of why I want to be heard, but also on a very personal level, it's like I just want to be heard. I need to be heard. My voice matters. And I just want to remember that I matter.
It's so interesting because, like, my purpose is to empower people, essentially to get what you want. And essentially, when you break down getting what you want, it means tell me what you want and how you feel. Go and get it, because it feels good when you are heard and getting what you want versus how it feels when you don't. And when you see like revolutions of governments, right, they're all speaking up. The reason why there's so many dictators happening and people aren't being heard and the rich are getting richer is because people have stopped being heard. It's like you do one revolution, you get nowhere, you do another one, you get nowhere. Third time, oh, this happened last year, no one cares, no one listens. And then the rich, powerful, just keep dominating because you didn't keep going until you got what you wanted. So what people should be doing is every year, the mass community gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually you break. Eventually, you get what you want, which is government look after the people, not the rich elites. But because we're now so used to not being heard and suppressing how we feel, government's taking more and more control. Rich and rich and rich people are getting richer. People are struggling more. People are getting less of what they want. And now the gap's got so big that to now start that again, you've got to start from scratch. Now it's like 7 years you've got to start. Like you started in year 0, 1, 2, 3. If you just kept going for 3 years, you would have got what you wanted, a revolution. Instead you stopped, now you're back to 0. And it goes back to not believing in yourself.
So are you saying that most of the world's issue is due to not being heard as a child?
I would say yeah. I would say yeah, because
So it's all these angry children
as
in adult bodies
yep.
being like, listen to me! Because
Yeah.
they were never listened to as a kid. And it's
Exactly.
like this kid in an adult body is now being, just running the world.
Exactly. I
And
hated
the
the
world
government.
is fucked up right now.
I hated the government, but I had no reason to, because what the government symbolised is control over me. But really, I had no control over myself. I hated the government when I was a kid. Why? I don't know, because I can't get what I want. Why? The government aren't controlling you. It's because I didn't control myself. And I felt this force of being controlled. Parents, school system, governments, hospitals, doctors. That was what the control was over me. And I realised that I don't have to control them to control myself. I just have to control me and take charge of me.
That's a really important piece.
And don't blame other people. Like the water,
Yeah.
flowing, but I'm leading where I'm going. You get resistance, flow around it. And that's when I separated myself from no one's controlling me. I'm against myself, my dad used to say. It's all in your head, mate. The world's not against you. Okay, so who is then? You are against you.
Yeah. Becoming the protagonist inside of your own head.
It's basically get out what's in you. That tension in you, that's against you. So
Yeah.
get it out.
Yeah.
No one's against you.
But
And
you've internalized what you've seen as a child. You've internalized that experience of being powerless.
yes,
And then you're making yourself, in the end, powerless.
and you project it on the world.
Yeah.
Walk
And you
around.
blame.
Yep.
Because the victim blames and needs someone to blame. If you're a victim, someone's the perpetrator.
For example, right, someone who's about transgender rights, yeah, well, they weren't heard as a child by their parents, and they're going to like government protests, and they're raging. We need rights, like government. You're like, they're not angry at the government. They're angry at like their parents and their siblings and their family and their school system that they weren't heard. All that anger's coming out to the government, but actually, you just wanted your parents to love you as who you were. A tree, a duck, a penguin, whatever. Just love me, parents. And now all this rage is coming out of the government. But it's not the government.
But it's also the government.
It is, but at that point, like that true rage, like me saying on the call system, when they say no, I can either politely say, okay, that's fine, can I speak to your manager? Or I don't give a shit what you're saying, let me speak to your manager. You go into these protests because you want rights, and there's no anger, like childhood anger being projected there. You're getting what you want still, hopefully, trying to, but you're not angry.
I had a reflection recently from my teacher, Melissa Maya. I want to give her a shout out because she's amazing. And she is bringing a lot around sacred rage, not even sacred rage, but rage of women, and how actually it's so needed in the world. It's so necessary because another layer of that conditioning has said to women and boys, don't be angry. Don't be angry. Stop being angry. That's dangerous. And it only becomes dangerous when you suppress it and when you actually don't know how to feel it. So we're also in this world of a big suppression of anger and rage, which makes us into this little fawn of, oh, I'm just also going to, I'm not going to say what I want, and also I'm just going to be over emotional. I'm going to be so emotional, and I'm going to cry, and I'm going to go to my room. I'm going to stay away from people and be in my own victimhood, because that feels better than actually accessing the rage and the anger. And I remember on my journey of accessing my rage and anger, I would feel so what's the word? Kind of like I was going into a trauma response. I can't think of the word now, but of like almost passing out because of the energy that's in that rage, which is really required right now as well on the earth. It's not to say don't be angry, and it's not to say not to have rage, because actually there's so many things that needs that energy. That is pure fucking fire energy to actually get a change in the world. But unless you're connected to your heart and a greater vision for humanity, that rage is destructive. And it's very self-serving. It's like, I'm getting what I want because I want it, and I want this, and I want more cars, and I want more money for me. But then when you come into a more evolved version of that and in connection to your heart, you're going to spread that, what you have, around into abundance, with your abundance, and into making a greater vision for humanity. And I feel like that's where we're actually moving to. But it's not to say don't be angry and not to be like in tune with your rage. I really feel like so much of our issue is that we're not accessing our rage and using it for the greater good. But there's layers to using our rage. There's the blame and the shame layer, and externalizing what we want other people to take accountability for. And then there's actually coming down to, okay, how can I get what I want here? How can I make this vision come true? How can I get what I want with using the energy of your rage, the fire, to get you there?
Okay, let's wrap up this podcast number 1. Anything you want to promote and plug?
As I said, my teacher is Melissa Maya. My Instagram is Venusian Magic, Venusian_magic. I give tantric massage. I create space for intimacy and connection. I do coaching. I do 2-on-1 massage for couples. And I create workshops called Deeper Connections. And I am available for festivals, and fully available for festivals bookings.
And if you'd one day left to live, what's the one thing that you'd say to the rest of the world?
Keep following your aliveness. the pulse of aliveness that's within you. Keep following that.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please remember to subscribe, turn the bell notifications on, like the episode, and comment below. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's YesKingOliver. Take a look at the other videos to your side. And if you just want to listen to this podcast, you can do so on Apple and Spotify and most other platforms by going to talkwitholiver.com.